Hello everyone, Lawrence here from Unicorn Reviews with a case that I already tried to review and failed miserably because I didn't check compatibility guides. I have all my stuff figured out now thanks to Streacom and their awesome accessories, so we can finally delve into the Streacom FC8 Alpha review. So some time ago I had a look at the DB4, which was this gorgeous cubicle ITX case from Streacom. And today we're looking at another passively cooled case, so the FC Alpha with the optical drive slot. Now this case allows you to build a computer without any moving parts. Now the quiet PCs that I build on this channel are one thing, but going for complete silence is just a completely new level and I'm super excited about it. So let's have a look at the case itself. I have the gray version here. It's the usual blasted aluminium that I like so much. The panels are really nice and thick, and the front panel features two USB 3.0 ports and a cover for the optional infrared receiver. Infrared receiver remotes are super handy when using this case, for example as a HD PC next to your television. The left and top side is a single piece of aluminium, and on the right we find the heatsink, which will cool your CPU. Looking at the back, there's a hole there for nano PSU connectors, and I'll be using the 120 watt nano by Streacom. This should be plenty powerful for a AM1 build or basically any ITX build. Also at the back is a Kensington lock and a single low profile expansion card slot. So the case is very small, but you can still put quite a few drives in. There's a rail at the top where you can mount a slot loading optical drive, an SSD and two hard drives, which should be plenty for most users. Starting with the build, we'll need to grab the amazing manual. I really wish that all case manufacturers would go with a manual of this quality. The manual shows how to install the cooling solution and all the other bits very well. There are 4 heat pipes which contact the right panel at 2 points, and the CPU block is made from aluminium, comes with AMD and Intel mounts. Build is pretty straightforward if you have the compatible hardware. First in is the motherboard, which I already assembled, and then you start with the heatsink. Now I recommend doing a dry fit before you start covering everything in thermal paste. By sliding the pipes through the block, you can easily adjust for your CPU location. So if your motherboard has a tall heatsink or RAM at the top of the board, you'll need to get the HT4 thermal riser. And also, if your CPU location isn't very low down the bottom of your motherboard, you might want to get the shorter SH2 heat pipes. Once you have the correct accessories, then basically every motherboard will fit fine in the FC8. Installing the HT4 riser is a bit tricky though, as you can't easily access the bolts that mount the CPU mounting plate to the motherboard. So basically you just assemble everything very loosely at first, and then once you have all the heat pipes in the right location, you tighten everything down and you're good to go. Streacom also sells an AM1 block separately, but I just botched the Intel mount on. And with the CPU cooling done, it's now time to install the drives on the rails, and basically my SSD went on really easily. I then installed the power supply, so the 120 watt nano by Streacom. It's a really easy job. The cable length seemed to be spot on, and even though the USB 3 cable is a bit long and doesn't come with this 3.0 to 2.0 adapter that I'm showing, it's basically really easily done, easy to route cables because you don't have moving parts in there. You don't have to worry about a cable getting stuck in a fan. Once you're done with all that, you just get the top panel back on, run a stress test and check for temperatures. So I'm really happy with the drive temperatures. I was a little bit worried that because there's no fan in there, the hard drive and SSD wouldn't get cooled properly, but I'm really happy to report that the Kingston SSD that I had in there didn't go over 29 degrees Celsius, despite being in a 23 degrees Celsius room. Now the FC8 Alpha supports CPUs with a TDP up to 95 watts. Now obviously, as you saw, I put an AM1 CPU in there, and this little 5350 doesn't quite use that much power. So it got up to 45 degrees in a 23 degree room under full load. That is with a little bit of an overclock going on. So that's pretty good, and I don't really think that higher TDP CPUs are going to be a problem at all, as long as you're not stacking stuff on top of the case or on this right side panel. So if you keep this side clean and you get some decent room ventilation going on, then temperatures will probably be fine if you stick to that 95 watt TDP. So then after the second attempt at reviewing the FC8, I can finally do my review on it. I have to say it's an amazing experience if you can deal with the expenses. So all these accessories, they do come at quite a bit of a price, but the user experience is amazing. It's not as easy as just getting, let's say, a Fractal R5 and throwing stuff in there. It's a more involved thing, and it just makes you feel I guess especially it's very satisfying. So installing the heatsink, for example, is a really nice feeling. It's like Legos for grown-ups, and it just adds to the experience of building your own computer. Now the looks are amazing, packaging amazing, the manual best I've ever seen, so all that stuff is great. The HT4 is a bit difficult to install because you can't access the screws, and I also had a little bit of a problem with the CPU mounting screws being slightly too long, so I had to include some washers on there. But other than that, I can't really fault this thing at all. So anyway guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, hopefully I'll get the reviews right the first time, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to follow the channel even more, I've got Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to really support the channel, that's what Patreon is there for. For now though, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.